Ah, good. Looks like it's time to flip the switch, indicating that our time to fit games into this first half of the year Riiviewmo has ended. I will also flip this next switch that will eliminate the need for clunky exposition.
I love flipping that switch. It means it's time for our biased opinions on games we played during the first half of 2018.
2018 has already had some home runs in the form of but there were some major flops as well, such as and
Don't worry, Andy, I jumbled the language of the games you said so it would be a surprise when we got to them.
No, you didn't. I just said the word garbled because that's what it said on the script.
Boy, am I glad you can read.
And move things along. Alright, in no particular order that matters, we start with
Season's Beatings. This quick reflex-based game will call upon the quickest of reflexes as you try and kill everyone at the company Christmas party. There's guns, knives, crowbars, and baseball bats to take everyone out with. Also, one hit and you're down and you gotta start the floor all over.
Each floor will take a few tries and may even take more tries if you're not used to the quick trick shots each and every person and dog will need in order to empty a floor.
I will admit I do not have the skill set to beat this game completely, but many of you might. Also, remember you can throw melee weapons and guns, but the only melee weapon that will kill after being thrown is the knife. Others will just stun your enemies. Be aware of that.
Good note. Next game! This is another Smash clone that is still in beta, but that doesn't justify it being here.
Nope. This beta, advertised as a full release, will have you pay $12 at launch for 4 characters, 6 colors, 3 moves, and no AI support.
What, no consideration for lonely people?
Nope. That's why I'm lucky I had Andy and a lot of patience when I got this game.
Nightclub has the potential to be a good game when it becomes a full game with multiple characters, interesting movesets, fun colors, and a variety of stages to play on, but this game was not ready for release day. It lacks a lot, and the balancing issues are glaring and plentiful. Also, the lack of AI support means you need a friend or an extra hand. Otherwise, you just paid $12 for a game you can't play, son. Next!
This indie platformer starts the player off as a child desperately trying to find out what happened to him, his home, his friends, and his memory, all while an owl character narrates everything.
Yes, in the case of the silent protagonist, your owl companion will explain everything, will taunt you, and will judge your choices at forked paths. While this idea seems fine on paper, we really don't need another patronizing element in this game to tell us we made a mistake.
The platforming in this game is absolutely brutal. Even with the ability to create a square underneath you using this obelisk thing, the platforming is unforgiving. The difficulty curve of this game eventually hits a slope so steep you just kinda give up and go home.
Also, it's a bad sign when you actually have to put out an update to your game that intends to completely rework the final boss.
I will never understand how the original version got past testing. Did anyone even test it? What's the trick here? I wanna know! Why can the boss just decide it's my time to go? How do you hit it? I've tried everything!
It's okay, James, it's okay. The bad man can't hurt you anymore. Get ready for the next game. Now, the reason we're lumping these 3 games together is because, essentially, they're all the same game. This is not for a lack of time, Hillian knows we have plenty of that.
No, Spartan Fist, Rogues Like Us, and Wizard of Legend are all dungeon-crawling games to a certain extent. Spartan Fist is the most fun, Wizard of Legend is the most unforgiving, and Rogues Like Us is the least frustrating.
Spartan Fist is the crawler where you punch your way through dozens of dudes and cats and robots until you come to a boss of the first area. Then you reach the second area and get wrecked by a train. Seriously, it never fails. You will always die to a train.
Rogues Like Us is a crawler where you and a friend cut through enemies in rooms that lock as soon as you walk into them, until you come to a boss of an area and then you move on to the next one. The sandworm is always first. If you died at the sandworm, you should probably put the controller down and walk away.
Wizard of Legend is a crawler where you and a friend pick out 4 spells to load yourself up with, then go and take on a dungeon made of 9 areas and 4 bosses. While the dungeon areas are full of unforgiving dangers themselves, the bosses of each area are the least forgiving part of this game. With almost no wind-up frames, each boss attack will strike you and strike you hard without warning. Also, when you die, you keep none of the spells you found or bought, and must go back to your awful 4-spell loadout you started with. Isn't that wonderful?
These games are all essentially the same, and we hesitate to call them dungeon crawlers because we were expecting gauntlet-type crawlers, not these Spartan races where if you get a bruise or break a toe, you have to start all over from the beginning.
James loves that metaphor. He's been saying it for weeks.
You come up with a better one.
Nah. These games are all very similar, and will keep your attention until their unfair start all over with nothing mechanic eventually wears down your patience as you realize the difficulty curve does not scale with your power. Your stats do not go up as you continue, but everything else gets increasingly more difficult. You just gotta get much better at dodging everything as you continue, I guess. Nothing better than a dodge fest!
As much as I have enjoyed Kirby's past adventures on home consoles after Return to Dreamland, I'm glad to see a return to form. Just another simple, easy, fun-to-play Kirby adventure that doesn't include caveats such as not being able to copy abilities or absolutely needing an extra player to help you navigate through the game.
Kirby Star Allies is another true-to-form Kirby game that is still getting content even after many of us have already beaten it. Nintendo is adding more characters to play as. In Star Allies, there are these areas where you can summon Dream Friends to add to your 4-person party, ranging from the regulars such as Meta Knight, Bandana and King Dedede to some characters we hesitate to call friends, such as Marks.
But damn if it doesn't feel good to play as him though. And if you get tired of being the most powerful character ever, add some zap abilities to him, or some fire abilities, or for something hilarious, add ice to him.
Yes, combining powers is another welcome addition to this game that we haven't seen since Crystal Shards on the 64, and Nintendo gave us this bit of nostalgia in spades, with the best combination obviously being Zap Spear.
Andy, I like the lies you have to tell yourself sometimes, but we all know that even Splash Bomb is better than Zap Spear.
That's not even close. I'm gonna just wait for the next game.
Kirby Star Allies is another wonderful Kirby adventure that finds its home on the Switch, and I can't wait to see what content they add to it to improve it even more. Yes, in another case of I will never beat this game because the skill set needed is high above my current skill set, we have Super Benbo Quest Turbo Deluxe.
This game looks like a glitchy mess.
That's the idea of the game though. It is meant to look glitchy and as if there are incomplete elements of the game. Those are part of the game.
Why not just complete the game?
It is complete. It even has some epic boss battle music. Benbo Quest is the tale of a girl saving the world from a skeleton army. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but I'm not super inclined to read much further into it after the hell the final level and final boss put me through.
Is this another Lightfall where the developer had to rework the final boss?
Oh no, Andy. The final boss is impossible and will stay impossible. The developer knows and embraces this.
That sounds fair and reasonable.
An absolutely awful, poorly controlled, poorly paced, poorly balanced piece of garbage with some of the worst and most confusing menu design in the history of game design. The worst of the worst loot boxing systems ever with 3 different kinds of currency to buy them. Different skins that are treated like different characters and the only difference is the color and the elements attached to the skin's attacks. The single player campaign is absolute rubbish and pits you against 3 shocking, paralyzing characters that will melee Pikachu style attack you until you eventually just give up or win in the cheapest way possible. Unbalanced, unpolished, uninspired garbage.
Tell us how you really feel.
The demo was a prelude to how awful this game truly is.
And we're gonna move on now.
This isn't just the Day 1 edition. This isn't just the Ultimate edition. This is the Ultimate Day 1 edition.
That's right. This whimsical and well-animated platformer is packed full of content, such as extra characters, more stages, bigger and harder challenges. This is the ultimate version of a Shantae game, and will only add to the half-genie experience anybody may have gotten before. Playing it on the Switch feels just right, and the game is one of the hardest to put down.
Jeez, that's some high praise.
This is one of the best platformers you can play, and even just the base game has aged very well. Plus, the animation is outstanding, some of the best you can get out of platformers today.
Well, wonderful. Maybe I'll give it a try someday.
Not now. I'm playing me.
Alright.
Yeah, my turn to have fun. Bloodstained is a game that calls upon that sweet, sweet Castlevania nostalgia, specifically the earliest Castlevania nostalgia you can muster, and does very little with it.
While the game is very much aimed to a nostalgic audience, it doesn't do much with that nostalgia. The only thing I recall is how it looks like the original games. The story is barely there, at least the platforming is forgiving, and so are the infinite lives during your first run of the game.
Each run of the game will get progressively more difficult after the first run's infinite lives. Unfortunately, we didn't care enough to give it a second playthrough. It wasn't interesting enough to hold our attention.
The 4 characters you can use add a fun layer to this game, but it definitely won't be enough to make you play the game 4 times. Also, the termites in the castle area, they're the worst.
Yeah, there could have been some warning or previous mention of them existing before they suddenly eat the terrain. That would have been helpful.
Yep.
James, before you start beating down the developers about how much you paid and how underdeveloped the game is, you have to remember something. You paid for the name, not the game.
But
no, shut up, the adult is talking. The game's Animal Crossing type quests to find 4 different characters in 7 different places as everyone switches positions every in-game hour do make the game bad, yes, but you paid for the name, not the game.
But
not done. It may have been overpriced for how little you actually get out of the game. The cooperative play may be non-existent until you unlock an arena mode that we will never play the game to find out how to do. But James, you paid for the name, not the game.
No,
final point. The combat may be confusing, the design may be extraordinarily flawed, and the back and forth to get any forward progress going may be a ridiculous use of the source material this game has, but again, James, you paid for the name, not the game. Now then, no more buts from you, we're moving on. Okay, I think that was the last of the games that James had a big angry rant prepared for. Moving on to Laser League, we have a fun team-based sport involving lasers and cutting the other team into smaller bits with those lasers.
This game is bright, colorful, and best of all, fun. While you may get paired with or against AI more often than you will other players, and they'll play way better than any humans you find, it's still an enjoyable experience. Every match you play has some sort of prize achieved after the experience points you gather at the end.
Plus, Slash is an easy and powerful ability to pick up. The reflex ability will allow your ability to charge instantly after making a kill with it too. This creates an incredibly dangerous attack that can sever multiple enemies if treated quickly and correctly.
That's nothing on Snipe. Place your laser, stake down, then run to another point of the field. If anyone steps in the little laser between you and your stake, quickly zip back to eliminate them. This weapon also has the reflex ability, so grab it and get sniping.
This game is a great amount of fun, and it has a lot of potential. Hopefully they intend to continue going the direction they're going instead of ruining their game like another team-based domination game we all know.
My only note to the developers is to limit the number of shocks that can be on a team to 1. If there's more than one, they can both stand near a stunned enemy and activate their abilities alternately to keep the player pinned down. It's rather unfair and unfun.
And we return to the familiar ground upon which we all realized that Koei Tecmo had done something we all wanted but never knew we wanted. They created Hyrule Warriors.
The first game was built for a 2-player experience, which made the single-player experience much more difficult to handle. There are many battles I never made it through or attempted because I needed a second player and Andy was never home.
Those battles were difficult, even with both of us. Legends fixed this by turning down the difficulty level a good amount and creating a more accessible gaming experience. Also, the fairy system was a really nice touch.
Now comes the culmination of both games, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. This truly is the best version of this game you could possibly get. The visuals are stunning, but the gameplay is just as fun, if not more, than Legends. And adding a second player doesn't sacrifice any of the frame rate. Yeah, you still gotta share enemies, but that's a small price to pay and won't impact your experience.
Yes, defeating hundreds of enemies is just as satisfying as it ever was. Only this time you can defeat even more enemies. There are a few feelings that come close to racking up your kill count with Toon Link's Jump Strike over and over. Go on, I dare you to find a better feeling than that one.
There is one single feeling better than destroying hundreds of enemies in one attack.
One feeling better than seeing Toon Link be his own character and not just another Link ripoff.
Better than getting another installment of your favorite game series.
Better than a confirmed Kingdom Hearts 3 release date.
Nintendo Labo.
While folding directly on the predetermined fold lines is one of the most stressful things on the planet, and the risk of breaking your delicate creations is always there, this is one of the best things the Switch has brought with it.
Yes, it's just cardboard, but when you add your Joy-Con and the Switch itself to the creation that took an hour and a half, you get this feeling of childlike wonder. It takes you back to days when you used to build armor out of paper for your stuffed animals.
Or when you used to build forts out of cardboard boxes.
Or your first day playing with clay in elementary school. Anything was possible. The only limit was your imagination. You can even build your own Labo games and programs with Labo. The only limit there is patience and programming skill, both of which we don't have, so we'll stick with what we got.
Labo is a childish kind of fun that can only be had with Labo. You wouldn't get the same effect building things out of not pre-folded cardboard. With this, you can visualize the end product. You can see what the fruits of your labor will bring you.
I hope they release more Labo in the future. There is so much untapped territory, and we really do look forward to the future of this strange cardboard-based adventure.
And those were all the games we played during the first half of the year. A lot of good ones, a lot of flops. Hopefully you take our recommendations and skip or consider purchasing some of the games we talked about. If you have any short reviews about any games you played between January and June of this year, let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video, share it around, and subscribe for more awesome content. Thank you for watching, and see you all next time.
Woo!
Paper Mario Labo.
No!